Welcome to episode 125 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the Last Tantalides and the story of Orestes and the Furies. In avenging Agamemnon by the slaying of Clytemnestra and her lover, Orestes had done the will of the gods, for an oracle of Apollo had commanded him to do this deed. But his piety toward his father had made him the murderer of his mother. Hardly was she dead before filial love stirred in his heart, and the crime he had committed against nature made him the prey of the Erinyes, or Furies, the goddesses of vengeance, whom the Greeks, to propitiate them, gave the name of Eumenides, which means the gracious ones, or those we implore to be gracious towards us. The Eumenides were the daughters of night, and as dark as their mother. They were taller than any human beings. Their eyes were bloodshot. Their hair was a mass of writhing serpents. Holding a torch in one hand and a scourge plaited of snakes in the other, they pursued the murderer of his mother wherever he went and tormented him with pangs of remorse. Immediately after the deed, the Furies afflicted Orestes with madness. He left his sisters, Mycenae, and his native land in frantic flight. In a lucid moment, he had betrothed his faithful friend Pylades to Electra, and now Pylades did not return to his father, Strophius, king of Phocis, but shared the wanderings of mad Orestes. He was the only mortal to stand by him in his wretchedness. But an immortal also came to his aid. Apollo, at whose command he had slain his mother, remained near him, now visible, now invisible, and fended off the raging Erinyes. The spirit of Orestes grew calmer whenever he felt the god at his side. After long wanderings, the fugitives came to Delphi, and Orestes took refuge in the temple of Apollo, which the Furies were not permitted to enter. He threw himself on the floor, exhausted with weariness and terror, and the god looked at him full of compassion. Then he revived his hope and courage with the words, "Unhappy son, take comfort. I shall not betray you. Whether I am near or far, I shall guard you and never give you up to your enemies. At this very moment, I have poured leaden sleep on the lids of those terrible old goddesses who rise from the depths of Tartarus and are abhorred by mortals, and even animals. For the present they are tamed and dare not approach my temple. But do not depend too much on their slumber. It will not last long, for fate permits me only brief ascendancy over these ancient deities. You must soon resume your flight, but you shall at least not wander without a goal. You shall go to Athens, to the stately city of my sister, Pallas Athene. There I shall see to it that you come before a just court, where you can speak and defend your cause. Do not be afraid. Though I myself must leave you now, my brother Hermes will guard you and protect you from all harm." So said Apollo. But before he left his temple and Orestes, the shade of Clytemnestra had appeared to the sleeping Furies in a dream and whispered to them angrily, "Why are you asleep? Have you abandoned me so utterly that I must hover unavenged in the bleakness of Hades? My closest kin have wronged me, and no god cares that I was slain by my own son. I have poured you many libations, and you drained them all. How many offerings have I brought you by night? And now you forget all this, and let your prey escape like a deer, which slips from his snare? Hear me, gods of the underworld. It is I, Clytemnestra, whom you swore to avenge, and who now troubles your sleep to remind you of your oath." But the sinister goddesses could not shake off the magic sleep which held them spellbound, not until they heard the words, "Orestes, the murderer of his mother, is escaping you." Did one of them rouse herself and wake the others? Like wild beasts, they leaped from their lair, stormed boldly to the temple of Apollo, and set foot on the threshold of the sanctuary. "Son of Zeus," they shouted at him, "you are a cheat! You, the younger god, tread underfoot the older goddesses, the daughters of the night, and dare withhold from our wrath this scorner of the law, this slayer of his mother. You have stolen him from us. Is it right for a god to do that?" But Apollo drove the black Furies out of his sunlit temple. "Away with you, terrible sisters," he cried. "Your place is in the lion's den where beasts lap blood. You, the hounds of the fates, not here on the site of my pure and sacred oracle." In vain the Furies reminded him of their office, of their rights. Apollo declared that Orestes was under his protection because he had avenged Agamemnon at his and Zeus's command. At last Eumenides quailed before his power and backed away from the threshold and fled. Then Phoebus entrusted Orestes and his friend to Hermes, the protector of travelers, and returned to Olympus. The friends took the road to Athens as Apollo had bidden them, and the Furies, fearing the golden rod of Hermes, followed only at a safe distance. But gradually they grew bolder. When the two arrived in the city of Pallas Athene, the Eumenides came close on their heels, and hardly had Orestes and Pylades entered Athene's temple before the dark sisters rushed after them through the open gates. Orestes had thrown himself on the ground before the image of the goddess, flung wide his arms, and prayed in wild despair, "Athene, I have come to you at Apollo's command. Receive me mercifully, for my hands are not stained with innocent blood. I am weary of wandering and begging at the door of strangers. Obedient to your brother's oracle, I have fled through towns and open country, and now I lie at your feet and await your judgment." But the Furies, who stood close behind him, raised their voices in solemn chorus. "We are on your trail, murderer," they cried. "We have tracked your steps, dripping with blood as the hound tracks the wounded stag. You shall find no asylum and no rest. We shall suck the red blood from your body, and when nothing is left but a living shadow, we shall take you down to Tartarus with us. Then neither Apollo nor Athene can free you from unending torture. You are a quarry, a victim for our altar. Come, sisters, let us dance around him, and with our songs cloud his spirit with madness." They were just about to begin their awful chant when a light from above flooded the temple. The image of Pallas Athene had vanished, and in its place stood the goddess herself. Her stern blue eyes gazed on those before her, and she opened her lips to speak. "Who is disturbing the peace of my sanctuary?" she asked. "What visitors do I see here? A stranger is clasping my altar, and women who do not look like mortals throng behind him with menacing eyes. Tell me who you are and what you want." Orestes was speechless with fear. He trembled and could not rise. But the Erinyes did not hesitate to reply. "Daughter of Zeus," they said, "we shall tell you everything just as it is. We are the daughters of Night and are called the Erinyes." "I know you," said Athene. "Word of you has come to me often. You are the avengers of perjury and of the murder of kinsman by kinsman. But what can have brought you to my temple?" "This man who lies at your feet and soils your altar with his presence," they answered. "He has slain his mother. Judge him. We shall honor your verdict, for we know that you are stern and just." "If I am to make judgment," said Pallas Athene, "I must first hear what the stranger has to say. How can you defend yourself against the accusations of these goddesses? What is your country, your line? What has befallen you? You shall cleanse yourself of the crime you have been accused of. I permit this because you are lying before my altar and clasping it as a suppliant. But now answer me, and be not afraid." And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.